Hey guys, welcome to 7 at 7, your daily dive into the Gospel of John. I'm Pastor Ryan, and this is Pastor Matt.
Hey.
Today we look at John chapter 11 and examine Jesus' response to Lazarus' death. So, in the beginning of chapter 11, we see Jesus getting notified that Lazarus was sick. Let's look at that verse. Now, a certain man was ill, Lazarus of Bethany, the village of Mary and his sister Martha. It was Mary who anointed the Lord with an ointment and wiped his feet with her hair, whose brother Lazarus was ill. So the sisters sent to him, saying, Lord, he whom you love is ill. But when Jesus heard it, he said, this illness does not lead to death. It is for the glory of God, so that the Son of God may be glorified through it. Now Jesus loved Mary and his sister and Lazarus. So when he heard that Lazarus was ill, he stayed 2 days longer in the place where he was. Then after this, he said to the disciples, let's get up and go to Judea again. The point that I walk away from the beginning of this chapter is that Jesus did not immediately get up and go to Lazarus. He didn't, upon receiving the news, he didn't get up, jump, run. And we find out the reason why. Jesus said, this illness does not lead to death. One of the key takeaways for me is that sometimes what seems like an emergency for us, Jesus knows it doesn't lead to death. He knows that it's just something temporary that we're experiencing. And although he may delay, it doesn't mean that he's not going to get involved. It's just on his time.
Even our death, right? Even physical death doesn't lead to death.
Doesn't lead to death. Yeah. So Jesus, God knows. He knows what we're going through. He knows what the outcome is. And sometimes our anxiety, we may try to force and push God. I know I'm like, sometimes I pray and I'm like, God, if you're going to move, it should probably be now. And so you can imagine, like, he loves Mary and Martha, and so they send this urgent news to him, and they're like, Jesus, hey, if you're going to do something about it, you should probably do it now. And Jesus is like, okay, I'll wait 2 days, and so, but he knew it wasn't going to lead to death, and we'll see what ended up happening.
Should I do that? I was going to sing a song called In His Time. In His time.
Brad, the battery's
that one? So, I think that one of the awesome things is not only does Jesus know everything, he knows what's coming, he knows that he has all the time in the world to wait. He can wait however long he wants, he can do whatever he wants, he can raise anyone from the dead at any point in time.
Amen.
But that's an awesome God thing. And here's the awesome human thing that Jesus does. In verse 32 it says, Now when Mary came to him where Jesus was and saw him, she fell at his feet, saying to him, Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. When Jesus saw her weeping, and the Jews who had come with her also weeping, he was deeply moved in his spirit and greatly troubled. And he said, Where have you laid him? They said to him, Lord, come and see. Jesus wept. So the Jews said, See how he loved him. But some of them said, Could not he have opened the eyes of the blind man, also kept this man from dying? So this is before Jesus raises Lazarus. We won't get into it, but good news, Jesus raised Lazarus from the dead.
Amen.
But how awesome is it that we see God being God, we see Jesus being God and saying, hey, I can heal him after he's gone.
There's no rush.
There's no rush. But at the same time, Jesus is so relational, and he loves Mary so much, and he loves people so much that he's sitting here and he's crying, knowing what he's about to do, knowing it's no big deal. But at the same time, he's feeling what these people are feeling.
He's hurting because they're hurting.
Yeah. And what does that say about Jesus?
Man, I mean, you just think about that. Like, God cares about what you're going through, and he may not respond when you think it's best, but he still cares. And so I think it's a humbling thing to say, okay, I may be going through this, I may be praying for this, but God's ultimate response is going to be for his ultimate glory.
Yeah. So I think it's awesome because so many times, at least with me, and I'm a sinner. Ryan's a sinner. We're all sinners. But people come to us and we're like, oh, I've got a cough. Do you think I've got I'm nervous. I'm scared. And part of me is like, bro, you just got a cough. And another part of me is like, oh crap, get away from me. But God is not like that. God hurts with us when we're going through stuff. I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, if you stub your toe today, God feels you. He knows where you're coming from, and He cares for you, and He's willing to weep with you. And when it comes to the big stuff, if you do have coronavirus, or you know somebody's going, or if you know that somebody has passed away in the last few years, or you're having problems with your marriage, like, isn't it awesome to know that Jesus is weeping with you? Yeah. But He's also God, like you see at the beginning of the chapter.
Yeah, He's able.
Yeah.
So, no.
Amen.
He's able. He's able.